Hi everyone, welcome to our Green Kitchen Conversations. Sort of every 2 weeks we look at ways that we can make a bit of a green swap with something in our kitchen. And this week we're looking at cooking oils. And we've chosen rapeseed oil for this week to have a little look. And so I'm joined by my colleague Vicky. And both of us are part of the Climate Kitchen Garden project with FEL, and that's predominantly based in Falkirk. So hi Vicky.
Hello, nice to see you again and to kind of be back in our kitchens exploring the worlds of oil. I think it's worth saying, as in all the sessions, we are by no means experts in this. We are researching, and I think one of the things we say every session is we're learning, and it's really making us think about where the food we're buying comes from and the journey it's had to get here. So oils has been another one where we've kind of explored learning, but it's there's a minefield out there to sort of learn about. So we're going to share some links where you can do a bit more research yourselves, find out more, get a sense of the environmental sort of impacts of different oils. I think sorry, over to you, Steffi.
Oh no, just if you know anything, please do comment on it and help us along the way.
Very, very much so. We are really keen to learn and to share resources and to kind of get us all exploring and thinking about our different foods and what's available, what we have in our kind of cupboards. So today, we're going to be mainly focusing on rapeseed oil. And I think, Steffi and I were looking at many reasons why we're focused on it. I think one of the things, and Steffi, correct me if I'm wrong here, but just to find the most environmentally or climate friendly oil is quite a challenging thing to identify. Mm-hmm. So I think, there's a few reasons we've gone for this. I think one of the reasons is the oil we've got here is kind of grown in Scotland. So in terms of travel, it's obviously something that's local to us here. So that's one of our reasons for going with our rapeseed oil. Steffi, do you want to touch on sort of some of the health benefits of it?
Yeah, and it was just to say there, when we did look into it, there's just so many different factors that go into farming oils, transporting, the ethical trading of them, that it was maybe a bit much for us to comprehend everything. So but it's really something to look at when you're buying oil, and actually it's again, it's really helpful in the understanding of what we use day to day. It was quite eye-opening. But again, why we focused on rapeseed was, like Vicky said, the health benefits really stood out to us as really sort of competing with the other oils out there. So one of the things about that was saturated fat. So saturated fat, comparatively, it has the lowest. To sort of read from a chart here, coconut oil has about 91% saturated fat. Then your olive oil would have about 14. Sunflower oil 11, and then rapeseed oil would be 7. So comparatively, that's quite a big step. So yeah, reducing saturated fat is obviously good for our hearts and cholesterol and all that kind of thing. So it could be a really good choice for someone who is looking to change that part of their nutrition. Also, it has a lot of added vitamin E. It also has omega-3 and 6. And what's important about those two is that that's something that our body doesn't produce by itself. So that's something that we would have to add to get that benefit. And other than that, just like the natural color of it is very, very yellowy, you can see here. So that's again a sort of nutritional thing that occurs naturally in the plant, that again is very good for us. So yeah, that's just a little bit about what we found. And yeah, we're going to try out some simple dressing recipes today, just because it's a nice quick way to use it. And also, there's no cooking involved. It's just really just having the product straight from the seed. Did you want to go first?
Yeah, should we touch a bit on the kind of cold pressed, the kind of process of that? Because I think that's one of the things to get us thinking about when we're looking at it. So the benefit of the cold pressed, and Steffi, you add in here as well, that there's no heat or chemicals added to this to kind of ensure that the oil's treated kind of more gently, and it kind of helps it retain more of its natural kind of goodness. So that's one of the benefits. I know, Steffi, you mentioned finding some oil that wasn't quite as kind of golden coloured. Do you think that was produced differently?
Yeah, so I was just noticing when I was buying it that you can just get rapeseed oil, and it looked very clear, and it was kind of in a big plastic bottle, so it looked really good value for money and that kind of thing. And so yeah, I just was wondering what the difference was. So really, a cold process is as Vicky was saying, it's just pressing the seed and filtering out the husks and getting the oil that way. So it's really simple, traditional kind of way to get your oil. Whereas a more, I guess, profitable way to do it is a more high intensely processed way, which I think adds chemicals. It involves heating up the oil as well, to extract it from the seed. And that way they get a lot more oil from the seed. That's why it's cheaper, and that's why it's more profitable. But you lose some of the flavor. You lose that really rich kind of nutty flavor that you get from rapeseed oil. And also it's just, it's people adding things where there maybe doesn't need to be, which again just feels a bit less healthy as well. And just in the nature of it as well, because it's a bit more, it adds value to the product for farmers to use cold pressed oil. You're probably going to see less chemicals added to their crops, because they're making more money from their rapeseed by selling it, a bit higher quality and processing it in a higher quality way. So that was another thing to think about as well.
Yeah, and it's one of the things we haven't actually mentioned is kind of the rapeseed plants that you'll see. So you'll see sort of fields of rapeseed growing across Scotland, and it's related to the same family, sort of same brassica family as kind of broccoli and cabbage, but it is something we will see, and it's a very distinct. When you see it, it's fields of bright yellow crops that you'll see.
Yeah, it's a lovely part of the season, isn't it? When you see all the yellow fields, it's really picturesque. And actually, again, it's really useful in farming because it is a crop that grows out of wheat crops and that kind of thing. So it's I think they call it a gap crop. So it's something that can grow in between their other growing. So it sort of fills in the gaps with the fields while they're in between their bigger crops of wheat and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah. So should we have a go? Sorry.
No,
over to you, Steffi.
I was just saying that they're beautiful flowers.
yeah, that they are. That they definitely are.
And the seeds themselves apparently look like poppy seeds. So that's kind of what you'd expect. That's the the seed itself is a bit like a poppy seed when it gets cold pressed.
Yeah. So should we have a go at our salad dressings?
Yeah. Did you want to go first with your one this time?
I can do. I might have to just try and move the camera a little bit.
And you're making honey mustard, is that right?
I'm going to do, is that appearing? So
Yes, I can see.
I'm going to do a honey mustard one. So we're going to use some of the rapeseed oil, and I'm actually going to put 6 of the tablespoons of the oil into the jar. So that's in, and you can see what a beautiful kind of colour it is.
Yeah.
So that's our oil in. And then I had a look at what vinegars I had, and I'm going to use a mixture of balsamic vinegar and some cider vinegar. So I'm going to do maybe 1 and kind of a half of the cider vinegar's gone in. And I'm going to add a bit less of, I think for me, one of the things about salad dressings is you make it and keep tasting it. You know, it's working out what, you know, putting some mixtures together and then adding more, tasting it, see what adjustments you need to make. I'm just going to give that a shake. So we put in just a teaspoon of the balsamic vinegar to that. Oh, it just smells lovely. So we've got that going there, and we're now going to add in some mustard. I often use Dijon mustard. We've got some whole grain mustard here, so I'm gonna. I quite like a mustardy dressing, so we're putting in a generous spoonful in there. And we are going to add in some honey.
That honey looks really nice.
It's yes. It is some some organic acacia honey, which is lovely. Steffi, do you have when you're making dressings, do you have a set sort of ratio you use? I'm trying to think what mine was, and it's probably, is it 3 parts oil to 1 part sort of acidic, but then I, play around a lot. I don't know if you have a set.
Unfortunately, I tend to just wing it and taste as you said. But yeah, just making sure you always have your acid and oil there. I like to always put like a pinch of salt in my dressing.
Yeah.
As well. But yeah, no set ratios. I think that's what's nice about dressing. It's just a small quantity you're making. There's not too much waste there. You can play around with it.
Yeah, and you can change it every time you make it. So I've got some lemons here, some garlic, because I'm going to be doing some more dressings for a session later in the week, and it's just, that's the beauty of it. All sorts of different things can go into it. You could get herbs grown in the garden. You can go and cut them and get them in. Right. Yeah. Let's give that a taste. Oh wow, that's lovely. Okay, I'm happy with that.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, no, that's lovely. I will just have to go into the garden and pick some salad. That will be the bit over lunchtime.
Oh, lovely.
So there we go, some honey and mustard dressing using our rapeseed oil.
That's great. And I like that you use a jar as well, so there's no mass equipment needed or anything like that.
So
Nice and
always,
easy.
yeah, I always, yeah, use a jar. Just saves on washing up, saves on equipment, and you've got it there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Lovely. Well, I will show you the one I'm going to make now. And I'm going to use, it's a bit of a thicker dressing, and I like to liken it to a Caesar dressing or a creamy dressing like that, but it's done using sunflower seeds. So I say sunflower seeds, but I only have seeds in my cupboard. So rather than go buy some more seeds, I'm just going to use those ones. And here, again, I don't do a lot of measuring, but for you, I have tried to measure. And this is a quarter cup measurement here. But, you can probably liken that to maybe a double tablespoon or something like that, I would say. So I'm going to do 2 cups of seeds. And this has got pumpkin seeds, linseed, sesame seeds in it, I think. So quite a good mix. Put this all out there. I've got half a clove of garlic. It's so strong when it's raw garlic, so you really don't need much. I've got a handful of basil, maybe 4 or 5 leaves. And then I've got half a lemon, which I'm not bothered about the seeds, so I just squish it in. And if you want to make sure you don't waste any more of the lemon, you could also have, put in the zest of the lemon too. So yeah. I'll use that later on. I just one-handed at the moment. Finish the sea salt, and then I've got my rapeseed oil here. I'll open my tea, and I'm just going to put put just 1 cup of oil. And now, because this is quite a thick, the seeds, when you blend them, they do make a really thick and creamy dressing. So I'm just going to add, also add a cup of water to mine. And then I'm going to use a very basic blender and blend them all together. I'm sorry for the noise. Quite funny watching me. So there you have it's quite a nice and creamy dressing. And it can get, if you leave it in the fridge, it will set again to be quite hard, and that's totally fine. What I would do is usually take a couple of spoons of that, and maybe shake it in a jar with another little bit of water again, just to loosen it up. And either you could maybe even serve it as a dip on the side, or I would just get leaves in a bowl, put a couple of spoons of this, and just coat all of the leaves in the lovely dressing, and kind of recreate a bit of a Caesar style salad.
It looks lovely.
Yeah, that's my tip for a vegan dressing.
It looks delicious. I should definitely be trying that.
But I think what's nice about dressings, you can chuck lots of different things into it. That one's quite nice with tahini as well, if you like a bit of tahini. So you just experiment, and probably mustard would be nice in that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To experiment. I think one of the takeaway things from today is experiment with your salad dressings. Don't need much equipment, just give it a go and try different flavors.
Yeah, and although we haven't shown you much about cooking with rapeseed oil, because just to say again, it has a high smoking point, which means it's really versatile, which, you know, you can roast with it, you can fry with it, you do anything with it, and it'll still keep its natural state. So all the smoking point means is that that's the temperature that an oil will start to break down its kind of natural properties at. So which, you know, takes away from all the health things that we've talked about here. So the benefit of that is you'll keep all of those nice health benefits at most cooking temperatures, really. That's
Yeah.
what you in fact they have. Is there anything
Well,
else we haven't mentioned?
no, I think we've kind of touched on what we wanted to touch on. I think we'll share resources, as we said, with people and links for people to go and look at. And I think just have a go and try it.
Yeah, and I think our next episode will be on elderflower cordials, I think is what we're going to try and make, or something to do with elderflower, and just kind of looking at the benefit of using foraged foods. And also maybe, you know, some benefits of less sugar in your soft drinks or something like that. So yeah, looking forward to going out and picking them. They seem to be coming out just now, so hopefully we've timed it right.
Yes, I see them starting to come, and it's lovely. So yeah, that'll be an exciting one.
Oh, well, thank you for watching, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see you.